Today we'll be taking a new topic, which is verbs in Hindi verbs. Okay. So based on your feedback, we thought it will be a good idea to have a whiteboard, right? I'll try to write on the whiteboard as big as I can, and if you can't see it, please give your feedback, and we'll continue to make changes accordingly. So let's get started after that. So the first Hindi verb, initially we'll try to do basic Hindi verbs which we use on a day-to-day life, such as like to see, to eat, to speak, to walk, to dance, or to run, right? So I'm gonna have Jennifer ask me questions on verbs, and then we'll respond. Okay. So you can ask me anything. Initially, you can ask me in English.
So let's say we wanted to know how to say to see in Hindi.
Okay.
So I'm going to say
So the verb is
to see.
see. So let's say initially you don't even know how to, one way would be that you ask in your native language, right? The other option is to ask it in Hindi. And we have covered a formula for it in the previous classes. So now Jennifer is going to use the formula and to ask this question.
So Ashu Ji,
Mhm.
हिंदी में to see को क्या कहते हैं?
Okay, so I'll write it down because in the last two classes you mentioned it will help to like sort of see that in Hindi. So Hindi में, okay, and then you put your whatever verb you want to know. को क्या कहते हैं? I'll repeat that again in case if it is not very visible on the screen. Hindi में, in Hindi, um, and then you put your verb here to see, and को क्या कहते हैं? Okay. कहना is also verb, which is to tell, but this formula will be used throughout our class. So let me write it down even more clearly, so that way you'll understand what I mean. And practice that as I'm writing it down, so that way you know. हिंदी में dash को क्या कहते हैं? ओके. हिंदी में टू सी को क्या कहते हैं? हिंदी में टू सी को देखना कहते हैं. देखना. So I'll write it down. I'll replace like to see, and I'll write down the actual word for it. हिंदी में टू सी को देखना कहते हैं. So now you use the same formula and ask me more words, and I'll answer you.
Okay, so let's say I wanted to know how to say to run.
To run.
Okay, so हिंदी में to run को क्या कहते हैं?
Okay. हिंदी में to run को दौड़ना कहते हैं. दौड़ना. So it's DAUDNA. दौड़ना. Okay.
One more. How about if I wanted to know how to say to dance?
Okay.
So हिंदी में to dance को क्या कहते हैं?
So हिंदी में to dance को नाचना कहते हैं. नाचना. We are saying it again and again, so that way repetition usually helps, right? I mean, if you don't get it in the first time, you'll get it in the next few times. But the idea is to practice it again and again, right? Force yourself to ask the question in Hindi, right?
Few more. Okay, so how about to go? So
To go.
हिंदी में to go को क्या कहते हैं?
To go in Hindi is you mean to say like somebody's leaving, right?
Yes. Yes.
So to jana, right? For example, if I want to say I go, like मैं जाता हूँ, right? So now we'll not use the formula. We'll just make a list of some words, which is very important, commonly used words, and then we'll see how to use these verbs in one of the very common tense, which is present indefinite tense. Okay. So let's say we want to know to walk. To walk is channa. Okay. To see it's देखना. Okay. To speak it's बोलना. If you're not able to write it, that's okay. That's completely fine. You can always go back to the recording to see the list of all the verbs. So right now, just focus on the the verbs, and then how are we pronouncing it. So I'll erase it again, and then we'll go to the remaining ones. Just make a note of the verbs so that way I don't end up writing them again. Right? Uh, More verbs.
What about to eat?
To eat. To eat is khana. Khana. Okay. More verbs.
To hear.
To hear. To hear is sunana. Sunana. It's one word, but if you speak it slowly, is sunana. More.
To think.
To think. To think is sochna. Sochna. And folks who are watching it, or you can also write down in the chat box if you're interested in learning about any particular word. We will address that as well. So to think is sochna.
To buy.
To buy. That's a very popular one, especially if you're going to any store to buy something. So to buy is khareedna. To buy is khareedna. We did to see, right? Dekhna we already did, right?
Yeah.
What about to swim?
To swim with
Yeah. To swim it's tärna.
And we have one request from Marcella, which is to understand.
To understand, right? Very good. So to understand is, anybody would like to give it a try? You can also write down your answer on the chat box. To understand. To understand is samajhna. It's a long one, but I'll say it again. Samajhna. So
We have one more request, which is to know.
to know, okay. So I'll erase it again, and we'll go to the next set of verbs. And now we'll go through the verbs which you guys are interested in. So feel free to write down in the chat box or on the YouTube comments. So this one is
To know.
to know. To know is janna. It's a one word, okay, but I'm putting a dash here because like so that way you can pronounce it properly. So it's janna, to know. So if I say मैं हिंदी जानता हूँ, that means I know Hindi. Or if I say I know Italian, so मैं Italian जानता हूँ, yes, I know Italian. Any other word, feel free to write it down.
So Monica has asked for to cook.
To cook. To cook is pakana. pakana. So if I'm using it in a present indefinite tense, again we'll be covering it more formally in the second half. I'll say मैं pasta पकाता हूँ, okay, or I can say मैं दाल पकाता हूँ, okay. Let's say some more. To fly. Now, to fly is like udana basically. Udana. Okay. Again, to fly something is different, but right now just think of it like udana. Any more?
Uh,
How to conjugate these verbs in the past? So we'll cover that as well. In this class, we'll stick with the present one. In the next class, probably we'll try all the complex tenses as well. So I think we've covered. You want to look at your list as well to see if there are any particular. One more thing, to be, right? To be is hona. That's also an important one. To be, hona. We did to think, right?
we did
Socha.
social.
Okay. We did dodana also, to run. Okay. What else?
Can I give one more?
Yeah, yeah.
What about to give?
To give.
Yeah.
So let's ask that in.
So हिंदी में
Mhm.
to give को क्या कहते हैं?
हिंदी में to give को देना कहते हैं. To give. Dena, Dena. So we can take the opposite also, to take. Can you guess?
Me?
Yeah.
लेना?
लेना. So हिंदी में to take को लेना कहते हैं. As we progress in the class, we'll start writing them in not only just Romanagari but also in Devanagari script.
We have one more.
Yeah,
One more
yeah.
before we move on. So,
Yeah.
oh, we've got a bunch more. Just sleep.
Okay, so I'll probably erase it and we'll do one more round.
We'll do one more round.
To sleep is sona. Sona is also a noun. Sona also means gold, and sona is also a verb which is to sleep. You know. Any more?
Yeah, we have two more. So we have to play an instrument, which is Greg's question. And we have Monica has asked to call to someone.
Okay. To play is bajana. So let's say I want to say I play flute. So I'll say मैं flute बजाता हूँ और मैं बांसुरी बजाता हूँ. Okay, bajana. And next one is
To call to someone, which was Monica's question.
okay. To call is a very good one. It means bulana.
Non lo so.
Yeah. So to call is bulana. Any more?
So Irina has asked to fly a. How would you say, for example, to fly a plane?
Okay. So now we have covered this set of verbs. Let's see the difference between to fly a plane versus like मैं उड़ता हूँ is I fly versus I fly something, right? And there are many verbs which fall into this category. So the first one I will say is to understand is like to say to study or to teach. To study is let's say पढ़ना. To study that when I'm studying it I'll say मैं पढ़ता हूँ. मैं पढ़ता हूँ. But the same thing if I'm teaching it, right? It would be, want to guess?
Padhana.
Padhana. So padhana becomes padhana, right? First is padhana, that when I'm studying it myself, padhana. But when I'm teaching it to make somebody, do that, it's like padhana. Similarly, udana was when I'm doing something like when I'm flying it, udana. Okay. Versus, you want to try?
Urhana.
Udhana. Okay. Udana. So udana, again to repeat, when I want to say bird fly, pakshi or bird, udta hai. Udta hai. Whereas like when you want to say I fly an airplane, मैं airplane उड़ाता हूँ. Okay. Let's do some more example because initially it may be a bit confusing. And one of the question which was asked, like to call someone, it's another example of that because we say bolna. Bolna is to speak, but bulana to call someone. That's bulana. Okay. Sona is to sleep. But when you're putting somebody to bed, let's say my son, if he's very sleepy, but he's not, he's still resisting it, right? So you call it sulana. To put someone to bed is sulana. Okay. Want to think of some more?
Yes.
Okay. So as if ghumna is
Travel.
to travel, right? Ghumna is to travel. But when I'm giving a tour to somebody, let's say you came to my city and I want to give you a tour, it would be
So gulam.
no,
No.
right?
So it's gulam.
No, it's Gumna.
Oh, gumna. So gumamna.
Very good, Gumana, right? So Gumana. We'll do one more,
Yeah.
and then we'll call it like that it's 10th, right?
Wait. Here we have a good one. Is to make someone eat.
To make someone eat, right? So to eat is
Kana.
Khana. Khana is to eat, okay. But when I'm again my son, if he's not eating anything, and my wife she's putting something, that would be.
Okay, so I think that's going to be ka.
It's a little figure. It's Khilana.
Oh, kilana. Okay.
Khana versus Khilana.
Kana and kilana.
Well, again, you can confuse it with khelna. Khelna is to play, but in this case, even there you'll say khilana.
Okay.
Khelna is to play. Khilana to make someone play,
Okay.
right?
And that was exactly Rena's next question, so that's
All right, so I think we are good here. We'll move to the next phase. How to use these verbs
right.
in one of the very common tense. Maybe you can give a bit of introduction about when do you use present indefinite tense.
Okay, so in English, if I were to say,
Let's just give more examples of that.
in English,
Yeah.
I work in an office. I go to the store.
Okay.
I drive a car.
Okay.
I eat breakfast.
You eat breakfast. Okay.
I swim in a pool.
Okay.
Or I fly in airplanes. Is that example?
Okay, so those are examples of present indefinite.
Yeah.
What is the generic characteristics here? These are the things that you do as a hobby or in general, right?
Yes.
There is no time bound associated with it, right? It's not like you're doing it right now. You just do it.
Exactly.
What about like Spanish? Can you think of some?
Yeah, we have this. So in Spanish, it's the presente indicativo. So it's the same sort of thing. Like if it's I teach, yo enseño, which is like I teach regularly. I teach all the time. It's not I am teaching right now, but just something I do regularly.
Okay, one more example maybe
in Spanish.
Yeah.
Okay, so I eat yo como, which is like it's like me catihu, right? Like I eat regularly.
What about to make some money? Do you have something like that?
I don't. So we don't have make money. Is there a Hindi word that's just
No. To give kilana basically that I feed someone.
to feed someone? Yeah, I don't think we have that in Spanish the same way in Hindi. There are the two verbs that you can transform.
A little bit different completely.
Yeah, a little bit different. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's a good discussion. So we'll take one verb and we'll practice around
We'll
that.
start simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one should we take?
How about dekna?
Dekhna. Okay.
Simple?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So dekhna is to
see.
To see. Okay. Let's take one example of it. If I want to say that I see, very simple case. It would be मैं. I is मैं. But when I'm writing it and then your verb here is is. But when I'm writing it in a present indefinite tense, I'll just use the first, four here. So मैं देखता, मैं देखता हूँ, because it's a singular masculine. If I'm saying it, then it's मैं देखता हूँ. But when you are saying it,
So if I'm saying it, it's मैं देखती हूँ.
okay, so it will be मैं, and the reason is because you are in Hindi we differentiate it, right? मैं देखती हूँ. In English, it's probably, I mean, it's not probably, it's the same, right? Whether you see it or I see it, it's the same thing. But we wanted to make it more complicated in Hindi, so we thought like, okay, why don't we twist it a little bit? So, मैं देखती हूँ. Should we do more pronouns? Or,
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So again, to repeat it, it's for a singular masculine, it's मैं देखता हूँ. For a singular feminine, it's मैं देखती हूँ. And again, both of them are deriving from the verb called देखना. So I'll write down all of them with all the verbs. देखता, देखती हूँ. And the next pronoun is आप. Okay, आप is you. Okay. So you are watching something. आप. So this part will remain same. Take. For आप it would be आप देखते and then है. Actually it will be आप देखते हैं. Okay. So pay attention. मैं देखता हूँ. मैं देखती हूँ. For you it's sorry. I wrote it in English. It's आप. आप देखते हैं. And let's say the next one is हम. Okay. Hum is we, us. Right? So we watch something. So, and if you want to make it a little bit fancier, you can write a noun here, right? Anything like मैं फुटबॉल देखता हूँ, मैं फुटबॉल देखती हूँ, या मैं सुपर बॉल देखता हूँ. Okay, हम सुपर बॉल देखते हैं. Now, there is subtle difference. You don't have to worry about it, and you don't want to get confused with it. But whenever you are using plural here, it's sort of like you have a nasalized sound here. है, हम देखते हैं. But when you're saying it, you won't really see the difference between आप देखते हैं and हम देखते हैं. Like you won't see the difference between both of them. मैं, हम, and then वे. वे is they. Okay, they is like if you're talking about a group of people. Okay, so वे देखते हैं. Same thing as this one. वे देखते हैं. Okay, plural third person. And similarly, if you're talking about someone like let's say Rina or Monica or Greg, okay, we refer to them as he or she. Right? So it will be वह. Okay, you can write a name also, but here we are referring to all the pronouns as he and she. वह देखता है. वह देखता है. So here we are saving you some time. Like in Hindi, we don't have he and she. We just have one. वह.
Okay.
What else?
What if I were to say Monica, right? Then it would be Monica.
That's right.
देखती.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it will be, that is right. So it will be Monica देखती है. But for Greg, it will be Greg देखता है. Okay. One of the things which I have not covered commonly in my videos is तुम, which is often used. Like तुम is informal you. It's important if you are like you friend with someone, right? And if you feel closely connected, you can use तुम. So far, I've always focused on using आप. That it's better and it's safe to use आप. Right? But let's say if you want to use तुम, because the rules are a little different. And initially, when I was teaching it, I thought it will be like easier if I stick with app. As we evolve, and I know that people are at the stage now, so it's like will tum dekhte will be same as this one. Tum dekhte ho. So it doesn't match with any of them, but this tum dekhte ho, tum khate ho, tum peete ho, or tum um, it's a little complicated. But if you are, if you know someone who they constantly lies something, right? You'll say tum bolna is to tell or to speak, right? Jhoot is lie. You'll say tum jhoot bolte ho, right?
That's useful.
Yeah. Right, tum jhoot bolte ho. So any questions, feel free to write down on the chat box and we'll address that. So again, just to repeat, it will be मैं देखता हूँ for a singular male. मैं देखती हूँ would be for a singular feminine female. आप is I'll write it down here. It's for you. आप देखते हैं. And aap can refer to both male or I mean usually sometimes when you're referring to some a lady you can say aap dekhti hai, but even if you're saying them aap dekhte hain you are giving them respect, so it will not be an incorrect sentence. Okay, hum is we, हम देखते हैं we watch, वे देखते हैं they watch. And then वह देखता है और वह देखती है, he or she. And तुम देखते हो, तुम is informal you. तो तुम देखते हो. Now, your homework here would be to sort of pay attention to all the 7 sentences that we have. One, two, yeah, 7 sentences that we have, and take one of the verbs that we used in this lecture. Okay, and your homework would be to apply to come up with these 7 sentences. Now look at the beauty, right? I mean, we have not gone through the other scenarios like negative scenarios, but just by learning one word for each of the verb, you can use these pronouns and come up with like so many sentences, right? In the next class probably we'll look for the other forms of the similar sentences, right? How to use I do not see, or I do not watch, I do not smoke, I do not drink, right? Or how do you say like do you like drive, or do you fly an airplane, right? So those kind of scenarios we can do in the next class. uh, at this point I think I'll open it up for any question and answer. So I'll stop